The intersection between science and blockchains has birthed a range of projects, like ones trying to extend human life using blockchain-based research, or even finding new ways to tackle cancer. It's all part of a movement called decentralized science, or DeSci, that's aiming to change how research gets done. Now, DeSci isn't a brand new concept, but it's gained significant momentum, especially after Vitalik Buterin and CZ attended a DeSci-focused event in November, igniting fresh excitement and discussions around its potential. DeSci at its core is about fixing what's broken in science, making data more accessible, publishing more open, and funding more inclusive. These are the three big areas where it's trying to shake things up. So let's break them down. First, data sharing, which has always been a huge issue. Scientists spend years collecting valuable data, but too often it gets locked away in private databases or behind expensive paywalls. And this makes it hard for other researchers to build on those discoveries, slowing down progress. DeSci is tackling this by using decentralized systems and platforms that make data open to everyone. The idea is to remove the gatekeepers and make collaboration easier. Then there's research and publishing, another area where the current system struggles. Peer review and publication can take months or even years, with findings often buried behind expensive subscriptions. DeSci flips this around by providing platforms that allow researchers to publish their work directly to the community, where it can be reviewed openly and transparently. By removing intermediaries like traditional journals, DeSci makes research more accessible and drastically reduces the time that it takes for findings to reach the public. Plus, researchers retain ownership of their intellectual property, which can be tokenized and shared among community members. Finally, DeSci tackles the biggest challenge of all: funding. Traditional funding models are controlled by large institutions that often prioritize safe, low-risk projects. This leaves bold, high-risk ideas struggling to find support, leading to the so-called valley of death, where promising research is abandoned due to a lack of funding. DeSci's solution lies in decentralized funding models like DAOs, where communities pool resources to support projects that they believe in. This bypasses traditional gatekeepers and opens the door for ideas to receive the support that they need to succeed. There are already projects in the space turning DeSci concepts into reality. One notable example is VitaDAO, which has been active since 2021, and its focus is on funding research aimed at extending healthy human lifespans. It has so far funded over 24 projects with a total of 4 million invested. Projects start by submitting a proposal to the VitaDAO community. Holders of VitaDAO's governance token, Vita, vote on whether or not to fund a project. Once approved, funding is allocated from VitaDAO's treasury, enabling research to move forward. VitaDAO retains 100% ownership of the intellectual property generated from the funded research. This IP is represented as an IP NFT, simply a digital token that securely holds the rights to the research. These IP NFTs can be fractionalized into smaller fungible tokens called IPTs. These tokens enable holders to contribute additional funding and actively participate in governance decisions related to the research. Speaking of IP NFTs, Molecule Protocol plays a critical role in many DeSci projects, including VitaDAO. At its core, Molecule provides the infrastructure to turn intellectual property into digital assets that can be owned, traded, and managed by communities. It also facilitates the fractionalization of these IP NFTs into IPTs, which, as mentioned, enables broader participation by allowing more individuals to fund and engage with research projects directly. Now, another notable project in the DeSci space is OriginTrail, which focuses on managing the data side of science. It turns scientific data into what it calls knowledge assets, which are verified and connected pieces of information that researchers can use collaboratively. By organizing and linking this data, OriginTrail creates connections between related research, essentially building easy-to-navigate knowledge bases. This makes it much simpler for researchers to build on previous discoveries. The system runs on TRAC tokens, whereby organizations and researchers use it to pay for access to services on the network. On the other hand, the people who run the network, aka node operators, are paid in TRAC tokens for storing and processing the data. Next up, we have ResearchHub, a platform co-founded by Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, with the goal of becoming the GitHub of science. It's designed to be a space where researchers from around the world can share their work and collaborate to accelerate discoveries. This involves uploading papers, asking questions, sharing ideas, and engaging in discussions. At the core of this system is the RSC token, which drives its reward model. Researchers can earn RSC tokens for their contributions or use them to create bounties for specific tasks, such as reviewing a paper, improving a data set, or tackling a problem in their field. Beyond that, ResearchHub has also facilitated crowdfunding for several projects. There are, of course, other notable projects in the DeSci space. HairDAO, for instance, focuses on funding and advancing solutions for hair loss. Then there's AxonDAO. Originally, it started as a traditional telemedicine startup, but it transitioned into a DAO in 2021 to leverage DeSci initiatives for advancing medical research. Another controversial project is Pump Science. It's a spin on meme coin launchpad Pump Fun, which gamifies longevity research. It lets users predict and trade tokens tied to the effectiveness of compounds being tested on model organisms like worms and flies. However, even with all its potential, DeSci is not without its challenges. One of the biggest criticisms revolves around quality control. Traditional science depends on rigorous peer review to ensure research credibility, but DeSci's decentralized nature risks enabling the spread of low quality or unverified findings. Examples of high-quality, peer-reviewed research are few and far between, to say the least. It's worth noting that ResearchHub has recently launched its own journal, though there hasn't been any articles published on it at the time of shooting. There's also an issue of interoperability. Many DeSci platforms operate independently, creating isolated silos that can hinder collaboration and data sharing, ironically the very problems DeSci aims to solve. Another critical concern is data privacy and security. DeSci platforms rely on decentralized and transparent networks, which can conflict with the need to protect sensitive research data. This is particularly problematic for proprietary or ethically sensitive datasets like patient information, where privacy regulations and ethical standards must be upheld. So, as DeSci works to address the flaws in traditional systems, it inevitably introduces new challenges that demand solutions of their own. Even so, it's pushing us to rethink how research is conducted, funded, and shared on a fundamental level. Now, the big question is whether it can navigate these challenges and truly redefine science for the better.